The next race up is for Honda RPM 200s, the Honda Cadet class effectively. Jake Bowery on P2 is the championship leader. Here's Jake with the full grid positions.
And Jake Bowery will be alongside the pole setter Stanley Clark, Sam Hayes and Max Bowery on the second row, then Charlie Eyeball and Red Lint, then Jacob Cartledge and Harry McLaughlin from Sam Yeadon and Isabella Stansmore-Wilson. Riley Blakemore and Freddie Walmsley from Max Lewis and Toby Turner. Then it's Harry Knight alongside Tom Nichols to round out the 8 rows. This is going to be an interesting challenge for Jake Bowery. A little bit of pressure on him with being the championship leader. Stanley Clark has won both heats coming into this, but can he make it a hat-trick? It's going to be tough. Jake Bowery's going to push him all the way up to the first corner, and he's got the better start. Bowery round the outside at turn 1. And for once, Stanley Clark is actually staring at someone else's exhaust fumes as Jake Bowery has hit the front nice and early. Max is trying to go with him, clearly related those two, and he's there in third position, but not for long. There goes Sam Hayes. He drifts through, and he's not the only one. I think that's Charlie Eyeball going through as well, the 10. He's got through. They're going side by side, Eyeball and Hayes. Hayes is the one that gets through in the left hand for the first part of the apex, and as everybody else storms through, they've kept it nice and clean for the moment.
Good grid this one, 16 drivers in it. Sam Hayes there in a blue suit. He's always had a blue suit since I've known him, Jake. If he ever buys a suit other than blue, I think we'll have to give him a penalty.
Certainly going against his own grain. So Bowery and Clark, then it's Hayes, Eyeball and Max Bowery. Red Lind is there in 6th position. Sam Yeadon, Jacob Cartledge, and then Blakemore, Walmsley, and then it is Isabella Stansmore-Wilson. So a bit of a battle coming up into the left-hander. That is Red Lind.
He won the final at round 7. So a couple of rounds ago, Red Lind, we know he's got quality, we know he's got pace and speed. So what can he do from, well, 6th place currently?
Well, into the left-handers they go then, and Sam Yeadon is there just a whisker in front of Cartledge and Blakemore. That looks like it could be a furious battle, and Red Lind is up to P5. He's made the move then on Max Bowery. So that is Red Lind charging his way forward, leaning forward in the kart, trying to get a little bit more aerodynamic speed into the first corner. You can gain quite a bit here at Hooton. It is a speed circuit, this one, particularly in RPM 200s. There's really only 2 parts of the course where you would even touch the brake pedal. So this is a very fast circuit indeed. Stanley Clark, though, is trying to retaliate on Jake Bowery. He's gone purple sectors all the way through to get the fastest lap by just that crucial 1/10 of a second. But Stanley Clark may want to play the long game here. He just wants to sit in behind Jake Bowery, make him do all the hard work, and then pop up in that last couple of laps to try and make the overtake. If he can stretch away from Hayes and Eyeball, then it's already half the job done.
Yeah, well, I think it is half the job done, quite frankly. So Jake Bowery...
Or especially with them going wheel to wheel, look. But
yeah.
Up the inside, Clark's going for nice and early, actually.
He said race leader, championship leader. He's not the race leader anymore. The fastest lap now to Lind. It was to Stanley Clark. So, but the fastest lap will always be highlighted in purple on the left of the screen.
Well, the 2 boys battling for third, having a great race of it. That's Hayes back through on Eyeball. Eyeball managed to get 3rd position initially on the first part of the lap, but now Sam Hayes has got through in the hairpin to move his way back into 3rd position. And look at these 2 behind. This is Max Bowery back in front of Red Lind. So those 2 boys having a great jockey for position with Eyeball and Hayes. And Red Lind, as you see there, it's confirmed on the left side, fastest lap of the race. But is he going to be able to get back into P5? Looking for the inside line, that's Hayes, trying to keep Charlie Eyeball at bay. And Charlie Eyeball's going for it, but on the inside, he almost loses the inside line there to Max Bowery. And Red Lind is going to try and get in there as well, up to the hairpin. This is one of the big breaking points on the circuit, but you've got to try and carry as much speed through it as possible. Bit of a run wide from Hayes. Is that going to be enough for Charlie Eyeball? No, it's not. Hayes has protected that inside line well.
And I think Clark is clearing off Jake. Now he's got the lead. You can see there he's got 6 or 7 kart lengths, and it looks like Stanley Clark, who won the earlier 2 heats, don't forget, is going to take the win in this final. But this is the battle on the track.
The 2 men up front are still duelling, Stanley Clark and Jake Bowery, but this is where the real on-track scrap is happening. It's for 3rd position and 5th position. So we've got Riley Blakemore working his way through the field. He's up 4 places from his starting grid position. He's up into 7th place now, past Cartledge and Yeadon. And then you've got Isabella Stansmore-Wilson in the top 10, just in front of Walmsley, McLaughlin and Lewis. But that's the mistake from Sam Hayes. Charlie Eyeball gets him on the way through the hairpin, and that is a change for 3rd position. Now can Sam Hayes get back on the horse and gallop back after him?
Yeah, you can see that Charlie Eyeball immediately gave Sam Hayes the push signal, as they do, these kids. They learn that at a very young age, the earliest age, of course. This is the battle for the lead. Stanley Clark with the fastest lap, 42.087.
Well, it was. Jake Barry's just beat him. He's literally just taken it off him by a couple of hundredths of a second.
Yeah, so that's interesting. If he's now the fastest man on the track, and he can judge his braking on what Clark is doing. So this might not be over yet. Maybe I called it too soon.
Well, Jake Barry, being the championship leader, doesn't necessarily have to beat Stanley Clark in this race. As long as he stays close to him, he can still wrap this up. But he's a racing driver. He won't want to settle for second.
And this is the first time the cameras have been out with a broadcast TV show at Hooton Park ever.
Very true. So this is the opportunity to showcase what you can do. Of course, he's been working hard all the way through the season. It's not just one race where he's been able to showcase his skills. He's been at it all through the 2022 season, hence why he is the championship leader here in Indikart. But Stanley Clark is trying to make this a perfect hat-trick after his 2 heat wins earlier on. Jake Barry still keeping him honest. He's not really letting him get too far ahead. 0.6 of a second is all it is, but Clark has retaliated in terms of fastest lap, and he's gained it back by 0.5 tenth. Now, here's the duel for third. Eyeball, Hayes, Max Bowery and Red Lind. And Blakemore is about 2 seconds up the road. If these 4 keep battling, we could end up with 5 or 6 of them going for the third spot on the podium.
You can just about make out Riley Blakemore and Jacob Cartledge in the background. They are in 7th and 8th, but this is the battle.
Oh, Lind is having a crack at Sam Hayes. He really thought he got a good run off the final turn, but he can go a little bit wider into turn 1 and gain a little bit more momentum. Sam Hayes was having to protect that inside line and go a little bit more defensive, and as a result, look, there goes Charlie Eyeball stretching away a little bit of a gap. So Red Lind is the one putting Sam Hayes under pressure now, and all he's got to do is hustle him, intimidate him, and cause him to make the mistake, and he might just get the run without even having to go for an overtake. So he's still there through the second part of the apex, back on the power, through the chicane, dash of curb on the inside of the right apex, a little flick on the left, and then they come through that final right hairpin at Stanlow, down the main straight up to Vauxhall. Here comes the charge from Red Lind. He's thinking about going right. He eventually goes left and then tucks back in. He's going to try and get the move into the second part of the apex, but he's not quite able to find that gap just yet.
It's interesting, Sam Hayes, he sort of takes a defensive line. He's taken a defensive line now up to Hooton hairpin, and in behind, that's an overtake by the 44 kart of Max Bowery. So Bowery now up to 5th, dropping Lind back 1, and that won't help Lind because he had the pace to go past Hayes, but now he's got to get past Bowery first.
This is all about momentum. You can be the faster driver in the trio, but if you can't make the overtake at the right moment, you then have to back off the throttle, maybe even a dash of brake to avoid the contact, and that unsettles your rhythm and it chops you back a little bit more, and that's exactly what's happened there to Red Lind, who gets the fastest lap of the race, by the way. A run wide for Bowery. Red Lind gets through. Bowery's frustrated, so Max Bowery bangs his steering wheel in frustration. I can't believe I let him through, but it's very easily done. We're on the last lap, of course. Stanley Clark's last lap, a 41.879, so he takes that fastest lap away from Red Lind last time of asking. But this is going to be Hayes. He'll just about hang on here in front of Red Lind. Or will he? Because Lind is going for him one last time. Stanley Clark has managed to extend the gap to 1 second over Jake Bowery. Last corner, last chance. Checkered flag for Stanley Clark. He gets the hat-trick. Jake Bowery will be settling for second place then, and a very happy Charlie Eyeball comes through at the line. Who was that got 5th position? It was a dead heat nearly, and Bowery just missing out there. Red Lind got him, I think, by 17 thousandths of a second. There is the confirmation. Stanley Clark takes the win. Jake Bowery in second from Charlie Eyeball, then Hayes, and the near dead heat between Red Lind and Max Bowery. Riley Blakemore in 7th. Mechanical problems this weekend for Isabella Stansmore-Wilson. She's 2nd in the standings, so we expected her to be fighting for the win this time. Jacob Cartledge and Sam Yeadon. In the points, there's the 32-point advantage from Jake Bowery over Isabella Stansmore-Wilson, who no doubt will be back to her best in 2023. Max Bowery in front of Harris Roberts, Red Lind and Sam Hayes. RPM 200 in 2023 is going to be brilliant.